today. So I have lots of content and I do want to get started. Oh, I see a few people just joining. Welcome to anyone just tuning in. Hopefully everybody can hear me and see me okay. I'm so pumped about my new webcam still. I know it's still webcammy, but it's much better than my built-in camera on my Mac. So I'm excited that we have a little bit better quality. Okay, let's get started. I see viewers. I hear people can hear me. I see people can see me. Let's just tackle this because I have a lot of content I want to share. And I'm just so excited to be tackling this topic because it's obviously one that's very near and dear to my heart, as you can see in the group. You can see I'm really trying to work on supporting yoga teachers around the business side of things, the entrepreneurial side of things, the branding side. And that can be very overwhelming, not just for yoga teachers, but any kind of entrepreneur. So, are we still working? Let me just make sure everyone can still hear me. I might be frozen. If you are on the Q&A tab and you can see that I'm frozen, just let me know. I just want to make sure that at least you can still hear me. Okay, well, I hope that I'm still broadcasting. This is why I might need to find a new platform. But if you can hear me, please let me know in the Q&A section. I want to dive into the content and I want to make sure no one's missing out. I think we're okay. I still can still hear. Keep going. Thank you, Nikki, so much. Okay, let's keep going. So as I was saying, I'm very passionate about this, this side of helping yoga teachers, and it's what I see probably is the biggest disconnect for yoga teachers thriving in a booming industry, is that we've signed on to become teachers and we've invested in our teacher training, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we just come well equipped with business skills and entrepreneurial mindsets. So this is the kind of spot where I see some stickiness with teachers, and this is the spot where I really, really want to work through my experience and what I do to help you guys thrive as yoga entrepreneurs. Barbara can hear me, but the image is indeed frozen. No problem. Okay, well, as long as you can still hear me, I'm going to keep talking because, I mean, I don't think you necessarily totally need to see my head bobbing around, but that's okay. It might clear up, who knows. So what I wanted to talk about today is the fact that yoga in general, as kind of an industry or a market of people, is totally booming right now. And that might be something that creates some stickiness in and of itself for some people. I know that it can be a little bit icky when people refer to yoga as something that's trendy or it's kind of like in right now. Those kinds of words are really, I mean, it creates a little bit of hesitation and hang up in me as well. So I'm sure that it is a little bit sticky for people in general, and especially for yoga teachers who are trying to figure out their spot and their place within this industry and this market. So as I said in the Facebook post, if you saw that, Yoga Alliance recently put out a stats on a survey that they've completed and some research that they've done for 2016. And as of 2016, when they released this, so very current kind of information, there are 36.7 million practitioners in the US alone. So that's just in the US. That's not including anywhere else that we might be located. Just in the US, there are 36.7 million practitioners. That means that students, just students in this industry in the US, are spending $16 billion on yoga. That's up from $10 billion, which was accounted for in 2012. So we've gone up $6 billion in the past 4 years of what students are spending on classes, equipment, gear, all of that kind of stuff. So that's insane. And at a $16 billion industry, I mean, the fact that there's that much being spent on just yoga classes is pretty astonishing. And it kind of makes you pause and wonder, you know, what am I making? What am I taking home from that? Or how am I able to create a more sustainable life for myself based on those numbers? And then the other stat that kind of goes hand in hand with this is that only 29% of yoga teachers rely on yoga as their full-time income. I would love to hear, if you are all still there and listening to my voice and not seeing my face moving, I would love to hear how many of you teach full-time versus how many of you teach part-time. So if you found the Q&A box, which is just up in the top right corner, the grid section that you will see, if you drop that down to the Q&A blue chat box and you go in there and pop in whether you teach full-time or part-time, because according to this study, 29% of us only are teaching full-time and being able to kind of create a full-time income based on that. So I know this is a little bit delayed, but I'm going to wait and I'll check back and see how many of you are, because I'm very curious to see who of kind of our group and our community and our little tribe that we have on Facebook, how many of us are full-time or part-time. So as yoga teachers, I find that I've been hearing so much, especially frequently, and I'm not sure if it's because it's the summer and it's kind of when people want to be winding down and kind of spending time with family or friends or being outside, but it's really coming up over and over for me again as I speak to yoga teachers that people are getting really burnt out, and a lot of teachers are struggling to make ends meet, and they're struggling to find a way that they can either, one, build a part-time sustainable kind of yoga teaching job on the side while they keep their other job, as well as fit in their own practice. So it's all about kind of managing your time around that. If you do have another part-time job or another full-time job or a family or friends to care for, anything like that, like maintaining any aspect of trying to keep up with more than one job, it's a constant struggle and it can lead to a lot of burnout. I hear time and time again about teachers not being able to fit in their own practice or being frustrated that they don't have enough time to, grow things or work on their business side of yoga while maintaining another job or, their studio jobs or anything like that. If people are teaching full-time, I hear a lot that they're running from studio to studio and, trying to keep up with making enough money based on a 1-hour studio class, trying to fill in as many as they can a week to make rent. And that kind of struggling it's just not sustainable for, our business, and it's not sustainable for our lifestyle. It causes huge burnout. And sometimes, what I've been hearing from yoga teachers, and this is kind of yoga teachers' words in my community and not even necessarily mine, but I can totally relate, is the resentment over yoga and not even enjoying teaching the practice anymore because it's become such a burnt out job for them. And that makes me horribly sad. I don't like hearing that, especially when I see these numbers from the Yoga Alliance study and the research, especially when I see that $16 billion is being spent on yoga classes and that almost 37 million people in the United States are practicing yoga. So that is something that I think we need to make a huge shift from. I think that there's so much that we can be doing, and it can be totally in baby steps, but we need to start valuing ourselves as wellness practitioners and wellness servers. We're service-based, a service-based entrepreneur, and it's very heart-centered, and it's very difficult sometimes for people to put monetary value on a spiritual practice, and it creates a lot of conversation around this topic of money and value and getting paid what we're worth. But it is something that if we do want to be able to participate in that $16 billion industry or be able to reach those 37 million practitioners, it's something we need to seriously consider. And we need to be talking about this as yoga teachers. We need to be discussing how our business skill set and how our kind of entrepreneurial mindsets can help us shift from just being a yoga teacher to a yoga entrepreneur that's thriving and growing and able to maintain a lifestyle that is sustainable. And sustainability can really mean anything to you. It doesn't have to be a monetary sustainability, although financial stability is a wonderful thing. And also, a level of satisfaction in your sustainability and that kind of lifestyle that you want to create. So thinking about all of those things, thinking about how we can start to build ourselves a life that is a happy, content, financially stable life as a yoga teacher. And a lot of you I've talked to in some capacity, and I've been having some chats with lately about when you're working part-time, and that, it is a goal of yours to take this into a full-time career. It's just a little bit difficult and tricky. And a lot of you that I've spoke to are finding it frustrating to be able to find the time to make that leap and to make that growth happen before you take the leap out of your full-time or your other part-time job. And that in and of itself is a very common struggle that I hear among all of my kind of entrepreneurial audience and yoga teachers. So basically what I do is I work a lot with yoga teachers, I would say almost primarily at this point, but I have my design company that has a very entrepreneurial small business audience, and they are not yoga teachers, a lot of them. And that audience to me has a very overlapping struggle as to my yoga teacher audience. And that's the whole issue of timing and being able to manage your priorities and trying to figure out when to make that leap. That's an overlapping kind of issue that I see in both of my audiences. But the one that I see yoga teachers struggling with more so is that entrepreneurial mindset, is that business owner mentality. And a lot of the entrepreneurs I work with in my design company for Function, they are already kind of the risk takers, and they're already kind of the people that are running businesses or starting businesses, and it's a different kind of mentality. So what I really want to work hard for with my yoga teacher community is to start to shift the mindset, start to shift the energy that we're exchanging, and start to really kind of bring an emphasis onto how to build and maintain a business around yoga, because it's different. It's stickier. We feel a little bit weirder about charging things for it. We feel like it's harder to ask for our worth, maybe. It's just so deeply personal. Our yoga business and being a yoga teacher is so deeply personal. It's very different from starting a business from scratch that is going to be kind of a separate entity, if that makes sense. I'm going to pause quickly and see what everyone's said about whether they teach full-time or part-time. Nikki says full-time theoretically in quotations. Christine, hey Christine. Christine's here. She says she's teaching part-time. Barbara, full-time, but really need to make it really need to be a better entrepreneur to make it sustainable. Totally agree. And we can help you with there. And then everyone else is just telling me they can still hear me and to keep going. Thank you guys. So we see a couple of full-time teachers, which is awesome, and a couple of part-times. And I think even the full-time teachers that I've spoken to and that I've interacted with in the group, they're still in that phase of, how do I make this sustainable? How do I make sure I'm spending my time adequately? How do I practice myself and, and tend to my own self-care? All of these things. And let me tell you that you're totally not alone. And let me also tell you that every other entrepreneur that I have in my audience and that I interact with as a business owner outside of yoga is also in the same boat. Everyone's trying to build a business where they can be also tending to their self-care, to their family, to their friends. And it is doable. It just takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of focus and dedication. So like I was saying, there's only so much that yoga teachers can do by teaching and running from studio to studio. And I think teaching in a studio is it's an awesome way to get in front of an audience. It's an awesome way to practice teaching. It's an awesome way to teach. And if you are living a sustainable life by teaching solely in studios, I would love to hear from you, whether in the Q&A box or just message me or reach out on Facebook. But I would love to know how that works for you, because I have yet and this is not to say anything about studio learning. I think like I said, I think it's very essential to complementing a yoga teacher's schedule. I think that there's lots of ways to branch out and expand your offerings beyond just a studio, but it's such a good way to get in front of people and start teaching and build up kind of an audience of people. But if you do teach solely in a studio or in multiple studios, and that's how you make your living, I would love to hear from you, because like I was saying, is just to shift to that entrepreneurial mindset, is to notice trends in the market. It's to pay attention to what your audience wants and needs from you. It's to listen to your students, and it's to really cater your offerings and shift your business kind of model towards whatever they're asking for and whatever they need. And this is a big aspect of why I've been reaching out to you guys a lot more about chatting with you and connecting with you to hear about what's happening in your life as a teacher, because I have my own experiences, but they stop at, my front door. And I want to hear what everyone else is struggling with and what everyone else needs support around, to see how I can start to shift things and build things and create resources that will help you thrive and succeed as a yoga teacher. So as we became yoga teachers, we didn't necessarily consider the fact that we have to be business owners, we'd have to be entrepreneurs, and we will need to kind of shift things and create that mindset that's much more of a business owner mentality. Christine says, your voice keeps cutting out. Is it my computer? Can everybody else hear me okay? I know you probably can't see me because I think I'm frozen. But let me know if you can still hear me okay. I still seem to be recording all right with my mic, but if anyone else is having issues with a choppy audio, just let me know. Hopefully the replay too will be okay of this. I'm sure it'll still be frozen. Let me know. There's a bit of a lag here, so I'll wait and check that out. But I want to just keep chatting about this because I've got a list of things to talk about how we can start to shift our mindset. So I'm going to dive into that next. So now that we've kind of talked about these stats and we've seen how yoga is booming, but maybe, you know, yoga teachers aren't necessarily all thriving yet, how can we start to shift our mindset to be more of a business owner mentality? How can we start to shift from yoga teacher to a yoga entrepreneur? Nikki says, my model is different. As a single homeschooling mother of 2, it is essential for me to work virtually as well as a coach. Awesome, Nikki. And that is totally one of the aspects that I want to talk about, is how to build yourself sort of a range of offerings that will give you some of that flexibility and combine other skill sets to start to reach other people and start to expand your services, start to expand your offerings. So how do we shift our mentality, or how do we shift our mindset? Let's chat about a few ways to do that. Number 1 is we need to always be continuing to learn and to teach. And yoga teachers are usually never fearful of investing in continuing education. So any teacher I know, and myself included, I'm a big kind of student junkie. I'm a student for life, I swear. And I could take so many different trainings for yoga. I love all of the different continuing education programs you can take. I recently took my yin training. I really want to take my prenatal training. There's always a list, an ongoing list of teacher trainings that I want to take. So it's important to continue to learn and invest in your education as a yoga teacher, and invest in workshops that'll help you kind of hone in your skills as a teacher, and, you know, really build on the foundation of those 200 hours that you maybe started with, because a 200-hour teaching program is a great foundation, but it's kind of the bare minimum. It's like if you just went to a one course out of, a university program, or it's like a college program and you need to go on to your graduate studies. It's like that kind of mentality. So we need to continue to build up our confidence and build up our skill set as a yoga teacher. And then in order to get the experience, obviously we need to teach as much as we can, teach many different groups of people, figure out what you like and what you don't like. This is something I drive home all the time, is just starting to figure out the foundation of your brand. And that is really a journey, an exercise in self-discovery as a yoga teacher. So figuring out what you like, what you don't like, continue to learn, continue to teach. The next thing, number 2, is that you need to start to shift your mindset towards investing in your business. So as I just mentioned, we love spending thousands of dollars on teacher trainings. That's awesome. And we need that to be able to teach. We need that to call ourselves teachers. We need that to be able to keep our students safe. But that is giving us the skill set to teach a yoga class. What is driving your business? What is growing your business? What is helping you become a yoga entrepreneur? That's where we need to start investing. And when I say invest, I might mean energy, time, money. It doesn't necessarily have to mean money. It could just mean invest your time and your energy into learning business and learning how to grow and offer a service-based business. So things like online courses and workshops that you can take online or in person for business learnings. There's tons of free signups. There are tons of free resources out there where you can sign up for little mini courses, or you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to webinars. Start to look into yoga business resources and yoga business kind of learnings. The tons of podcasts. We've got Suzanne in our group. She does the Yoga Crush podcast. Melissa does the Smart Yoga Teacher. Michelle does Love Teaching Yoga. It's a yoga teacher resource. There's the Yogipreneur by Rachel Cook. There's tons of resources. I have my own page on Function's website, www.function.com/yoga. Tons of business resources for you to start just picking at little things here and there and starting to broaden your knowledge and start to expand on your education around business. So that's something that we really need to work on shifting, because I see so much hesitance in investing in a business education course or a business learning, or even so much as investing in a service that you pay $10 monthly to sign up for email list automation or growing your email list or email marketing. $10 a month is two coffees from Starbucks. It's 2 lattes from Starbucks. It's $10 is 1 lunch out in a month. And if you can just cut back in some area to have the $10 a month to help you streamline your business, these are the kinds of mindset shifts that we need to start thinking about. These are the things that they're going to help us, number 1, give us some time back, and number 2, streamline our business, number 3, grow our business. So we need to start shifting things and start accepting that if we want to kind of grow and expand and become better at something, we need to invest in learning and we need to invest in streamlining. Even the hesitation and the unwillingness to buy a $1 stock photo in Canva is, no, I'll just take the free one. It's okay to use the free stuff, especially when you're just starting, but that $1 image upgrade or that $1 investment in a better picture is going to be totally worthwhile. And because we don't maybe have such a tangible return on our investment when we invest in business things or services for our business, it becomes a little harder to justify that expense. But I'm telling you right now that I promise, if you can start to learn to shift your mindset from investing, again, just time or energy, not necessarily money, but time, energy, or money into the business side of learning, it's going to be able to help you tenfold in your business and in streamlining and giving you time back and just taking the extra step to let your audience know that you care about them and you care about your business enough to invest. So those are a couple of ways. The third way to shift our mindset that I wanted to talk about is starting to tackle authentic marketing. And that means being more present on social media, showing up and starting to put time into your week or your day to connect with your audience other ways. So like Nikki was saying, if you're a community-based local teacher and you want to start reaching out online, then that's something that's really important for growing your business, is tackling social media. Check out buffer.com. That's a scheduler that you can get a free scheduler for your posts on Facebook or Twitter. And that's a great service to start introducing and investing into your business. And it helps with scheduling social media posts to keep some consistency. Also, email lists, growing your email marketing, that side of your business. Getting into people's inboxes and having access and them granting you permission to come into their inbox is a huge win. And that means that that person genuinely really values you as a provider and values your content and values your input enough that they want you in your inbox. And that's going to be way more powerful than any social media post that you'll ever kind of put out there. MailChimp offers free email marketing management. So if you wanted to start off with something free, check out MailChimp. Next, we need to start tackling things like accounting. I use Wave Apps. It's free. So all of these things, like I said, you need to invest in your business. You can start small and start with the free offerings. So Wave Apps is an online accounting system, and I go in there twice a month. So every other Friday, I take 1 hour. I upload all of my receipts for my business. I track all of my income and all of my expenses, and I put everything through there so that I'm organized as a bookkeeper. This is something that I will likely hire out soon, but it's something that I needed to learn how to do so that I could figure out how to manage my money in a way that I could see what's coming in, what's going out, and it gives me a better relationship to my money in my business. And you can also create free invoicing on Wave. You can accept credit cards through Wave Apps. So if you do private clients or you invoice studios, it is such an easy way to track your invoicing. And if people, you want to be able to give them access to pay you by credit card, it's very easy to turn that on or off. So if you'd rather not accept credit cards, you turn it off. If you want to accept credit cards, you turn it on. So accounting is something we really need to grab a hold of in our yoga business and make sure that we can start to make that relationship with money one that is a positive relationship. It's an energy exchange. Money is going to be as positive or negative as you make it. So as I said, when people get really sticky about charging for yoga and charging their worth and asking their value, the better of a relationship you can make with yourself and money, the easier it's going to be to ask for those things, the easier it's going to be to value your time enough to ask for what you're worth. And that's a very, very important issue, which I think is a whole other live chat within the yoga industry, is really knowing that people are seeking out your services and people want to learn from you. If they're coming to you and they're coming to your class, they want to learn from you. You know more than they do, so they're asking for your services. And the exchange that you have with money for that service is one that you need to be able to cultivate within yourself and build that positive relationship and start, creating a practice around money. One thing that I do with money in my business, and I've learned this through Rachel Cook's programs, she has a good kind of money mentality around this. And one thing that I do is anytime I get money in exchange for a service or any of my business, so anytime I'm paid something for my business, I take just one quick moment and, thank you, universe. I appreciate this money. And I appreciate that people are appreciating my service. So I just take a second to just put that positive thought onto that exchange of money. And it's just an energetic exchange that I've now been able to spin in a positive way. So starting to tackle money and accounting is going to be huge for helping you grow and expand your entrepreneurial skill set. So next is starting to tackle client management. So this is really important. It's something that I've started to pay a little bit more attention to, is starting to really notice who's interacting with you and engaging with you the most. Which students do you see time and time again in class? Which students do you get emails from regularly? Which clients do you interact with the most? Start to pay attention to who's in your audience and know them by name and by kind of what their struggles are and what they are coming to you for. And this might mean creating a Google sheet or an Excel sheet of their name, email address, and kind of the status of where they are in your business. So have you worked with them before? Is there something they need more help with? And just, trying to remember and maintain a little bit of a database of client management and student management so that you know who you're speaking to, and that if you do have offerings coming up that would benefit that specific person, you can reach out individually or make sure you include them on any kind of marketing or promotional material. So client management is another big thing for helping kind of shift things into more of a business owner growth tactic for your yoga business. And then another one that I wanted to talk about is the last one, is kind of the tackling of branding and differentiation. So this obviously is the best for last for me, because it's what I do and it's what I really believe in. Because with 37 million practitioners in the US, there's no shortage of yoga students for all of the yoga teachers that are being pumped into the world. It's no secret that studios and, places are really starting to focus in on yoga teacher trainings. And that means that there's a lot more teachers in the world than there was even, 2, 5, 10 years ago. But that really doesn't scare me, and it shouldn't scare you, because there's so many students now learning yoga as well. It's the business really is booming. The industry of yoga is booming. People are starting to realize, even on a scientific level, the benefits of yoga, and are starting to adopt this mentality into our societies and cultures. And it's really a good thing. And to start to differentiate yourself and work through the branding process, where you can get crystal clear on what your purpose is, what your goals are, what the lifestyle you want is, who your audience is, what your visual reference is going to look like. So as you do start to put content out into the world in many different forms and many different ways, whether it's your website, social media, business cards, emails, anything that we're using to interact with our audience through our brand, that if you can come up with a visual system and start to work through a process of differentiating yourself, figuring out what your unique offering to the yoga world is, that's going to be huge. And it's going to help you in communicating with the right people and communicating the message and the purpose that you want to have out in this world. So that's another huge kind of mindset shift that we need to start thinking about, is with all of these teachers, what am I doing? What unique voice do I bring to yoga? What do I bring in? And, there's tons of resources for this as well. Checking out those podcasts and webinars, keeping active in our Facebook group, checking in with these live chats. You're getting knowledge and you're learning just through these live chats, I hope. And then if you are ready to take that on, there's the Building Your Brand workshop for yoga teachers, accessible to you. And there's tons of ways to start learning this process and shifting how we think about branding, because it doesn't have to be something that feels gross to yoga teachers. Branding is really just the process of getting so super clear through a self journey, through self-discovery as a yoga teacher. It's about discovering who you are, what you have to offer, and how to speak that to your audience. So it's not something that means you're creating an empire. It's not something that means you have to turn into some desk slave, workaholic yoga business owner. It just means that you need to start shifting mindset in towards being a little bit better at entrepreneurial skills. We all could use this. And starting to think about those bigger business picture things. If you want to grow your business and you want to get to a point of sustainability, we have to start shifting our mindset towards investing in our business. And again, investing is defined, the way that I'm using the word investing is defined by energy, time, or money. So one or all of those or two of those. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to invest a ton of money in your yoga business, but you do have to invest time then if you want to grow. And you have to prioritize these things, because the priorities that we put on yoga teacher trainings is so important for our skills and for our ability to teach yoga and understand yoga and learn more about the philosophy, the history, the asanas, the everything about yoga. But then we need something to drive our business, and we need something to help us build a sustainable life for ourselves. And again, to recap, sustainability again can mean financial sustainability, satisfaction, lifestyle, balance, self-care, all of these things. Because if we're not focused on building a sustainable life for ourselves, it often leads to burnout, frustration, and sometimes even just people stop teaching because it's just not, it's not something they can keep up with and maintain properly. So these are some of the things that we need to start thinking about to shift our mindset, because I want to freaking have a movement of yoga teachers. I wish everybody, it was like required for the 200 hour, which I know there's not enough time in a 200 hour to do this, but I want everybody to have some level of business ownership over their teaching career, because whether or not you decide to go full-time, if you just want to stay part-time, there's still a level of sustainability you need to reach. There's still a way of maintaining a business that you need to be able to have in order to not get crazy burnt out with trying to teach part-time, work full-time, tend to a family, tend to friends, tend to yourself. So everybody kind of in the yoga teaching path needs to start thinking about how to grow this in a sustainable way and how to make this all worthwhile to meet your goals and your objectives and the lifestyle that you want as a yoga teacher. So starting to consider those mindset shifts, starting to invest that time, energy, or money into business learnings and programs and tools and platforms to streamline your business, and reaching out to people who might be able to help, or collaborating with other wellness people, building your skill set so that you offer yoga and something else. Like Nikki said, she has a virtual aspect to her yoga teaching. She's a coach as well. So there's lots of different ways we need to start growing this and expanding it. And we also need to know when we can do something ourselves and when we need some help. When it's okay to say, you know, I can't do this by myself. I need to bring on some help if I want to get to the next level. If I need to get to another point and step up, then I need some help to do that, because I can't realistically do it properly myself. We need to know when it's okay to say that, and when it's okay to kind of pass on a task or delegate or ask for help. And, you know, the Facebook group is a really good place to be as well for that kind of thing. If you have questions or you need help or you need to chat with someone to bounce ideas off of, go in and just drop some questions or ask for what you're looking for. And there's almost 400 other people in there that are in the same boat as you, working for the same things as you. And then the biggest piece of advice I could give you as a yoga entrepreneur who is trying to build a sustainable business, but also trying to tend to all of the other things in life, is just do one thing a day for your business, even if it's 10 to 15 minutes a day on the back end part of your business. So not standing in front of a class teaching. I mean, working on the business part of driving your business. If you can do one thing a day, you are in prime shape. So all of this stuff that I've listed out today, the shifts in the mindset, what we need to focus on doing, those kinds of things come with time, and we need to have some patience around putting all of these systems in place for ourselves. But if you can just do one thing, like I said, a day, maybe your one thing is listening to this live chat. Maybe your thing tomorrow is listening to a podcast on yoga business. Maybe the next day it's scheduling a couple of social media posts on Buffer. And maybe the next day it's creating a graphic in Canva so that you can share that for your next workshop. Just do one thing per day to streamline and help you with getting the ball rolling, and keeping up with that momentum is going to make huge leaps and bounds in your yoga business. So even just that 10 minutes a day, if you can consistently show up for your business, you will see difference, and you will see more a progressing kind of brand for your yoga business, a progressing way of growing and becoming more sustainable. So one thing a day is my challenge to you. For 10 or 15 minutes, whatever you can spare, try and tackle one thing for your business, for the business side of your yoga. Because without investing the time or the energy or the money in these things, we're not going to be able to grow. We'll stay still, we'll be stagnant, we'll keep living the life that we are living now. And if that is something that is already working for you again, and you are feeling sustainable, that is amazing. And I would love to hear from you too, because I've been reaching out to people who are struggling a little bit, or I've been hearing at least from people who are struggling. But I would love to hear about ways that you do thrive and that you do find a sustainable balance in your business. Because without investing in these kinds of things and asking for help and streamlining things and growing, we're not gonna move forward. We're gonna stay still. And we need to start thinking about these entrepreneurial things and be able to kind of go with the flow and the changes in the markets, and figuring out what our audience needs and listening to them and responding quickly with offerings and services and things that they need, and really listening to how they're speaking to us and using their language to speak back. So there's a lot of work to be done in the yoga industry, I think, as a whole, when it comes to building businesses, when it comes to figuring out that sweet spot of where you can jive with your business and still feel kind of authentic in it. And I think that we just need to really start taking ourselves professionally seriously enough to invest, again, our time, energy, or money into our business, into ourselves and our life, instead of just trainings, which are totally a huge factor. We need those. We need the practical, tactical teaching skills. We need to learn the knowledge of yoga before we can share that. But then there's a whole other side to it, which is running a business and becoming kind of an entrepreneur and shaping the life that you want, that has to be paid attention to equally. And again, if you want some extra resources, you can check out hellofunction.com/yoga. And that's my website. And I've got a new kind of newly designed page up there with yoga teacher resources that you can check out. And if you have any questions at all, if you need to know about what the best social media scheduler is, how often should you post on social media, what should you post on social media, how do you market your services, the Facebook group is there for you for that reason. So start using it for sure for any questions that you have around this. Any support that you need, or any way you feel that you can get better support from me or our community, please reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. I've been having lots of great conversations with people from the group about this. And I am in this to, like I said, start a freaking movement around this. I want people to thrive and be able to have a lifestyle that they're happy with, they have relief from, they can balance things with, they can have self-care, they can have a business, and they can shape it to what they want it to be in a way that feels supported and good and balanced and flowy. So I hope that you got some value out of that. I hope that it's a little bit inspiring, or it's sparked a little bit of something in you to start kind of shifting a mindset towards a business owner mentality and trying to figure out what that means for you and how to make that something that works for your life. And like I said, the 10 to 15 minutes a day for one thing. If you need some accountability, show up in the group. Let us know what you're working on. Let us know how we can support you. Let us know if you just want us to check back in with you to see if you got your task done. Any way that we can support you, that is the purpose of your group. That's why I want to be here showing up to help you. And really, truly, this is so deeply important to me. And I was so excited for this chat today because I'm so passionate about helping people just realize the potential of what is inside of them as someone who is in control of their own kind of work path. And if you've chosen to teach yoga, I want to do everything I can possibly do to help and support you reach the goal that you have in mind for what that looks like for you. So I'm here. You know how to get in touch with me. If you have questions, I would love to hear them in the Q&A. I'm going to see if anyone has popped anything in here, but you know where the Q&A box now is. It's the blue drop down in the grid in the top part of your screen. There should be a little grid. Drop that down. You'll see a Q&A. I'm a little delayed, so I'm going to read through these while you're typing. Nikki says, my main teacher in Asheville is able to support his family solely as a studio teacher. He is an excellent business person as well as an excellent teacher. His classes are generally packed and he fills his workshops and teacher trainings. That is amazing. That is the ultimate goal, Nikki. That is so good. And you know, as a studio teacher, you for sure can make a sustainable living if there's ways that you can navigate that. Like you said, he's got lots of workshops and yoga teacher trainings within the studio, which is a great way to supplement that. So that is awesome. Do we have any other questions here? Let me just check. I don't think so. If you have them, pop them in as I say bye. I'll see if I can, if they kind of pop up here. But what I want to say is if you do have questions that come up for you after this, please head over to the group. I will be there hanging out. I'm there all the time anyways, and I will be there answering. But thank you so much for showing up today. Even showing up to this, you've taken such a big step towards shifting your mindset and becoming a little bit more entrepreneurial focused and shifting your mindset towards more of a business owner. So I totally appreciate you being here for this chat that I'm so super passionate about. And I am so excited to see you in the Facebook group with any questions you have. Thank you so much. Sorry you couldn't see my face moving, but I hope you heard me clearly. And I am excited for next week's live chat. We're going to have a guest on with me, so I'm super pumped about that. All right, guys, have a great day, morning, night, wherever you are. And I will see you in the Facebook group. Build your brand, a yoga teachers community. Bye-bye.